It should be agreed to, and I call the member for Barton.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. The Morrison government is suffocating an already weak economy, which is getting weaker, and it's trapping vulnerable Australians in poverty by refusing to increase Newstart. I would describe the approach of this government at the moment in relation to vulnerable Australians as heartless, without evidence, and I'm absolutely scathing on it, despite the fact the minister has a very large flanks of advisers there. 1 in 4 Australians on Newstart are aged 55 or over, the single largest cohort of recipients of the allowance. Older Australians experience particular difficulty in re-entering the workforce due to structural barriers and age discrimination. And many Australians are finding that they simply aren't receiving enough hours of work to get by. In fact, almost 1 in 5 Australians, that's 130,000 people, Minister, Newstart recipients have a job but do not receive either enough hours or income to get by off the payment. Younger Australians are also doing it tough, with youth unemployment double the national average. The reality is that it is not possible to live on Newstart. It's making it more difficult to re-enter the workforce, and it is also making people trying to find a job more difficult. It is not helping, and you know it. The last week, this out-of-touch government introduced 5 pieces of legislation to pursue its ideologically driven, ineffective, indiscriminate and extraordinarily expensive cashless card, which will make it more difficult for Australians trying to re-enter the workforce to purchase essential items and basics at affordable prices. It also introduced legislation to force Australians trying to enter the workforce to eat more into their savings before they can access income support. Absolutely disgusting move. It introduced legislation to make it more difficult for single mothers, carers and people on DSP to access the Education Entry Supplement to undertake further study. Australians trying desperately to re-enter the workforce have a right to ask, how will this cashless card, urine test or saliva swabs or cutting education support, how will that create one single job?